Hello, welcome back to Cosmic Cunts. I'm Mo,
I'm Liz.
and we're here to just fuck shit up.
Yes, fuck shit up.
Pow, 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 pow.
Happy full moon.
Happy full moon. Oh my god, yeah. And my period arrived like a week early because it was like full moon energy release, and I was like, all right, cool. That's
Mine is still thrown off ever since the eclipses. It like wants to
yeah.
be with the new moons, but it also wants to be with the full moons because I was always a full moon girl. So like I'm PMSing right now, but there's nothing coming out of me and it's very frustrating.
It's really hard. I don't know, like growing up and like not really talking about my period or not being able to. And having like this stigma like periods are gross, and now understanding a little bit more on the spiritual side what a period is, and now understanding like my moods before, during, and after is like, even Bobby will say like before you get your period, like you are a hot mess, and it's like all the buildup of all the resentments, tensions, anything that I need to release. As soon as I get my period, it's like,
Whew, the
wow, I
bliss.
fucking feel better. Yeah.
It's insane to me. Like, I'm all for equality. I want gender equality, all that good stuff. But at the same time, biologically, us people with uteruses should not be expected to perform at the same level that men are because biologically, oh my God, the luteal phase, we really only get 1 week out of the month.
We
Like
really only get
one
one
week
week.
where we have
And yet,
maximum energy, can like get all the shit done. I mean, I
but
guess we technically have two. I can do shit while I'm ovulating, but like,
but you know what? Here's the thing. Like, women are just, I'm gonna say this. Women are superior to men biologically.
oh, we are
Like, I just,
superheroes.
and so like, because our brains can literally multitask, whereas in a male brain, like, is designed differently. It's wired differently. Like, it cannot keep track. Like, and
Yeah.
so I definitely feel like, yes, we have a lot more to deal with physically, chemically, biologically, but we are also built, uh, we are equipped to be able to handle all of those stresses and handle all of the different cycles. It's just comes with an awareness, like, and you got to meter the
Yeah.
energy, right? Like, what can you do? What
I
can
will,
you not do during a certain
yeah.
phase? It
I
makes
think
a
that's why I've
difference.
always thought it's so funny that men and the patriarchy somehow found a way to make it seem like God would be a man, like the most powerful God would be a man. Because technically, most indigenous cultures, when you go back, everything was always about the female. It really was like patriarchy and like men getting insecure and shit, trying to like shift things and change the stories and religious narratives so that it became more like male god. But it used to be where like the females had the most power. Like Persephone, fucking spring rebirth. Apparently there was like a whole cult that was probably dedicated to her and she actually probably was worshipped as a more powerful. Like people believe she actually was the true goddess of death, not Hades type shit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And how many times have we seen that throughout history, women are being erased and trying to be overthrown?
And diminished, their power reduced.
We almost modern society, modern civilization almost didn't know about Hatshepsut, and she was a very powerful pharaoh who was almost erased because her stepson was like, "I've had enough of this bitch. Like, this is a
Yeah.
stroke to my ego." And but she conquered. She built a massive temple to herself. Like, she
Yeah.
erected, and that was a time when ancient Egypt was prosperous, thriving. There was more people celebrating their religion and practicing, and you can see that in the evidence if you look back to that time period. And it's just, yeah, how many times have women been
Erased from our history.
erased.
I mean, I just
Cleopatra
found
doesn't
out.
get enough credit.
Oh, Cleopatra doesn't get enough credit. And apparently, she also had a younger sister who was also a bad bitch who kind of got erased from history.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And these two women were absolute geniuses. Cleopatra herself spoke all nine languages of the ancient
Mm-hmm.
world. She had tomes and tomes of literature that she wrote based off of her scientific findings that were in the Library of Alexandria, which every time I say that, I just
Yeah.
fucking want to cry. But she had And it wasn't just like the stars. Like she did do astronomy. She was into science, but from her findings, like she found ways to regrow hair on bald men. She had a skincare line, and yeah, it just
It's
fucking
insane.
genius.
I really feel like humans have regressed. As much as we try to say that technology and whatever we have innovated and we have progressed as a species, I really think we have regressed. Because I look at like the ancient Egyptians, I look at what the Greeks and the Romans were doing, and I feel like ancient technology was so much more impressive than technology today.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna have to concur with you there.
Yeah, and they were like ahead
Like,
of shit. Like we lost shit. Like the Egyptians had so much knowledge about plant medicine, and even like again, so many indigenous cultures, so much shit has been erased and lost from history. When I found out that aspirin comes from a fucking tree, like I should have known that. That should have made sense because everything has to come from a
marshmallow is
plant
a
at some
flower.
point. And marshmallow's healthy when
Yeah,
it's not
yeah, yeah.
like the sugary
When
processed
it's
one.
exactly. Yeah, and how much
Yeah.
information do we lose in the burning of the Library of Alexandria? How much have we lost just because the Vatican has been keeping books like for fucking ever, and they're like,
Dude.
actually, no, this the public can't know this, and it's like, all right,
I
well,
love that the Vatican's trying to
you're
tell
dumbing them down.
people. Yeah, I love that the Vatican now is trying to tell people how to tell if something's real or not.
Yeah,
They're like,
please,
"Oh, we're gonna tell you if the ghosts are real. We're the
yeah,
only ones who can tell you if you're hallucinating or not."
lick a hemorrhoid, you know? No,
Yeah.
thank you. Uh, but you were gonna say, I'm sorry, before I started on Cleopatra, you said you just found out about, we were talking about women being erased.
Oh, like Picasso,
Hmm.
his paintings, it was all like his lovers. Like he had like a lover that he basically was just abusing and stealing her work and like keeping her from being big. And
Like
he's not the only
Shakespeare,
one.
William Shakespeare.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Shakespeare. Oh. I think even Einstein too. I think it was actually his wife that was doing most of the work, and he was
um,
getting the credit.
who run the world, girls? Yeah.
Literally, literally
Uh,
every single time.
yeah, and watching all these documentaries about like the Garden of Eden and how Eve ate the apple, but Adam has an Adam's apple. Sorry,
Yeah.
I have
No,
questions,
it like
but
it
also,
doesn't
and it's
compute
like,
there.
and somebody was like, "Oh, it's because she disobeyed God and ate the forbidden fruit." It's like, actually, if you think about, if you really dig into that, what did she eat from? That apple was from the tree of knowledge, the tree of life. What is the tree of
Yeah.
knowledge? Those are actually sacred texts
Yeah.
that
So basically
show the
she was
magic.
punished for trying to
She
learn more.
fucking transcended. She took a piece of knowledge, transcended her own, and evolved her DNA. She literally changed her DNA. She
Hmm.
alchemized, she transmuted. And because she
An
found a way to,
ascended being.
an ascended being, she found a way to get close to God's level. Um, then it was like, oh, well, no, you can't do that because I can be the only one. And actually, in studying, like, I grew up Catholic, right? My dad is a Jehovah's Witness. And so growing up, he would tell me, you know what the Catholic Church doesn't teach you is that in ancient times, Abraham, all these biblical figures were actually living up to like 700 years. And it wasn't until like that they started reaching like 800 years old that God was like, you are reaching immortality. You are getting
Hmm.
close to being godlike. And
Well, I
so
mean,
that's
that's
when
why
there was like,
Lucifer was
yeah,
cast out of heaven because he dared to question God.
he dared to question God. Lucifer is so misunderstood. Everybody thinks
Hmm.
that, oh, the devil's evil. The devil is punishing, Lucifer is punishing the evil doers. So therefore, wouldn't
Yep.
that make him good? Like, you think, yeah, Hades. Do you think they like that shit? No, they're just doing their fucking job.
Dude,
Um,
it's insane to me that people get pissed or hate Hades when Zeus is the asshole. Like even like Hermes, like automatic, like all the good gods are all the asshole ones supposedly. You know, like
yeah,
Hades is just minding his business. He's taking care of the dead people.
Zeus literally killed his fucking father. Like,
I mean, Kronos had it coming, but like bad example.
but
But
also, but
also
still,
like Zeus just is raping everybody. Like
yeah.
oh, But yeah, women just oh microphone. There we go.
Get your tiny ass little microphone. Yeah.
That
All
completely threw
right.
me off. Let me
Wow. Yeah. We were
reground.
getting heated, so maybe we needed that. Let's come back.
Okay, where were we?
Zeus raping bitches and impregnating and yeah, and so but yeah, women are the fucking problem. Sure. Women women are inferior. Yeah.
Dude, I feel like
Lick
this
a
ties into the whole like men versus
perineal
bear
fissure.
thing.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah. I didn't know about that until Bobby brought it up, and so he was like, "Oh my god, people are getting so mad that women would choose the
Does he
bear." It's like,
understand?
oh, he
He
fucking gets it.
understands,
He
right?
was like,
Okay, good.
he's like, I'd pick the fucking bear. You know?
Literally, I'm like, the bear's not gonna question me. The bear's not gonna fight back. The bear's just gonna go, oh yeah, I killed you. Like, that's it.
My actually, I was talking to one of my uncles the other day, and he was like talking about how when he was younger, he was like, "I was such a babe," and I was like, "All right, take it fucking down, right?" But he was like talking about how some guy was hitting on him and was relentless, and he's like, "So I completely understand what women go through," and I laughed my ass off. I was like, "Sure, sure, of course you do," and I was like trying to think of all the times that like I had a Me Too movement, a Me Too moment, and I was like, you really would not understand. You would not understand going up to your boss to ask about your schedule and him saying, "Wait, let me try something," and him turning you around, physically putting his hands on you to turn you around
Mm-hmm.
and unhooking your bra. That was fun. I had to
Or
fucking quit because I was so
even
uncomfortable. I was
just
like, "Oh, it
standing
was
in a
my fault."
crowd and having a stranger put their hands on your waist to move you
It's
out of
like,
their way or to get past you.
hmm. Yeah, and it's like little moments like maybe that seems like it's okay to you, but how about the fact that I'm fucking uncomfortable?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
Also,
but you understand.
like literally just yesterday, I had a guy just like hanging out in my work because he decided he had a little crush on me and he was just camping out there. The amount of times I've had guys do that shit to me, I'm like, this is my place of employment. You're keeping me trapped here. I am basically a hostage. I don't have a choice but to be here and be friendly.
That's
But
not
like,
safe.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not safe. But the amount of times like I've had guys just not being able to comprehend the difference between this is my job and I'm being paid to be nice to you versus flirting is genuinely terrifying. Like when I was bartending, I used to have to wear a fake wedding ring, and that still wouldn't stop people.
Yeah. People
Like,
have no respect.
yeah,
And it's like
I,
really it's really fucking difficult. So I hate it, yeah, when men, like arrogant, ignorant men too, are like, I completely understand. No, the fuck you don't.
yeah, I will
In fact,
happily
you're
take a bear
probably
any
one of the
single
dudes
day.
that's, yeah, you're probably one of the dudes that's made like other fucking women just goddamn uncomfortable. Like you
Honestly,
don't have
like
to worry about leaving the house
even
late at
my
night.
safe guy friends who I love to death, and I will say like I do view them as safe people. There still are walls that I have up, and there still are guards that I have in place because you never know. You always have to be careful. Like one of
You
my
always
best
have to
guy
be
friends,
careful.
I love him to death, but there was a point where he kind of did start trying to like get a little too the flirty and try to blur that line, and I had to kind of distance myself to put those boundaries back in place because I'm like, dude, just because everyone else thinks we should be together does not mean that we should be together. You know?
Yeah, so let's tone that down. You and I, yeah, it's that's other people's opinions do not facilitate any kind of relationship, should not catalyze anything.
Yeah.
You gotta, that's a between you and me kind of thing. Let's have a
Yeah.
conversation about consent. Let's talk about
Let's
where we
actually just
think
have a talk
this,
about how we actually feel. Like, let's check in with each other
yeah.
before we make assumptions. I think
And
that's a big
honestly,
thing.
it is. It's a big thing, and like I feel like I don't know, growing up in the Hispanic culture, I was never told these things, and so therefore I never knew how to be safe for myself or how to feel safe or how to be a safe person. Like, what boundaries do I not cross? Like, where do I stand? Like, how do I how do I human? How do I human?
Yeah.
Like, and it's like really fucking hard. Like we've talked about it. It's like, oh, don't wear shorts around the men that are coming over to our house. And it's like, I just don't know how to exist.
Why
I
do
don't
I
know
have
how
to
to
take
exist.
self-defense classes? Why do I have to carry the pepper spray? Why do I have like, why is that on me?
Yeah, or yeah, exactly. And honestly, it's either that or just don't go out. My mom would tell me constantly, no, you can't go out and do these fun things that you want to do because I don't trust people. And it's like, so I have to limit my joy in life because I'm not safe. How about other people just fucking learn how to treat people? How about we all just learn how to treat and respect each other's boundaries? And it
Yep.
starts at such a young age. It's like forcing your child to hug and kiss a relative. When that child says no, respect that boundary. If you want your
Yep.
kids to grow up respecting boundaries, you respect theirs. So like and all of it is tied in. It's all the little things that really fucking add up to having interpersonal communication and relationships that like are respectful, have boundaries, are understanding, there's compassion. Like there are a lot of million little details that go into our everyday interactions that help build that safety, help build that net, those boundaries with other people. Like how do we um, express what we expect?
Mm-hmm.
How do we know what safety looks like, first of all? Because you can't express boundaries if you don't know what the fuck boundaries are.
Yeah, I also think too, it's just people need to remember that we're all always evolving and changing, and there needs to be continuous check-ins. You can never just
Yeah,
assume things just because, like, one day this person's boundary is this, that doesn't mean it's always going to be that. It could change depending on, like, what triggers them, what comes up. Like,
what the moon is doing.
yeah, I'm guilty of this too. I feel like a lot of times when we fall in love with someone and somebody becomes a safe person, there is a little bit of taking them for granted because
Yeah,
you know, I mean, think about it. How many times when we're in love, we're like, you're mine. There's this sense of like ownership when you love someone so much, you
yeah,
feel like they are a part of you because we are all a part of each other, blah, 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 blah. But we are still separate beings. And I think it's
exactly.
always remembering like, okay, as much as I feel like I know this person completely, I should still check in every so often. Like I've
Yeah,
seen so many couples, they do like weekly meetings and like stuff like that. And I know some people say that that's excessive, whatever, whatever, but I think it's great. I think it's good to
it's fucking
continuously
healthy.
be checking in. Yeah, because things
It's
shift,
how,
yeah.
and I've brought up having those meetings with Bobby, but here's the thing: we're both very neurodivergent. Setting up a time for, but what we do
Yeah.
try to do is, and Bobby is better about it than I am. But he's like, hey, how you feeling? What do you need? What do you not need? You know,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's like, I'm like, I don't know what I need. He's like, okay, what do you not need? I'm like, don't fucking talk to me right now. Like, I'm struggling. And he's like, okay, cool, thanks. I just needed to know that. And he's really great about
Dude,
that. And it's a great reminder. I'm like, wait, well, what do you need? Like, because
yeah.
I'm like up in my head. And so sorry if I'm being a cunt. Sorry if I'm being a little shitty. And he's like, I get it. You've got a lot going on. And I love that his compassion has helped me have compassion for myself and others because you can't really have compassion and understanding for others if you're constantly being critical of self, right? So
Mhm.
I love that he provides that gentle reminder of what love and awareness looks like.
Yeah.
That really helps me to evolve.
And that's also a perfect example of how easy it is to communicate and check in. Like, it doesn't have to be a
Yeah,
long meeting. It can be just that simple. And,
yeah,
I feel like a lot of times we forget that, like, people don't necessarily want, like, an explanation or a fix-it problem. Sometimes we just want to be heard and acknowledged of, like, hey, how are you doing? I see you. Okay, I'm here.
yeah. And
You,
and
you
Bobby
know,
also has like a beautiful self awareness. Like sometimes that self awareness can be like, oh my God, it can be heavy because you're aware of so much. But his self awareness is such that, like, when he comes at me, he's like, look, this is what I have going on. I don't need solutions. I just kind of need you to listen to me. Or just, he's like, I need you to just give me space so I can work on my shit. And I'm
yeah.
like, so healthy. I love that. It's like, oh, what a breath of fresh air. That's what the fuck healthy looks like.
Yeah, I hate the fact that our society has made it seem like being direct and straightforward makes you like bitchy or rude
rude,
or to
disrespectful.
whatever. Yeah. Because to me, I'm like, no, that's how we all should be communicating. Why the fuck should there be guessing games? Why the fuck should there be
Ex-
all this subtext and having to understand body language and context clues? And why can't I just walk up to somebody and say,
you
hey, I feel like shit today?
know what? I've got a lot on my mind, and I don't need to be a fucking mind reader today. That shit is toxic and it's exhausting.
It's
I
so exhausting. I can't do
oh
it anymore. Like, I'm at the point where I'm literally just getting direct with people, being like, I need you to tell me exactly what you want from me right now.
yeah, I don't have time to fuck around. Like
Yeah.
we're trying to get shit done, and I can't pussyfoot. I don't have the time. I don't have the fucking energy. Be straight
Yeah.
with me, or like don't, or just walk away.
Let's not waste
Like
both of our times. Like, I am happy to show up and be whatever, mirror, reflect whatever people need from me, but just tell me what you want from me. Like, if
the
you want me to
transparency.
say, like, give me the script. Give me the script and I'll happily play it along, but don't throw me on the stage and just expect me to like figure it the fuck out. I feel like a lot of times like people set up like a game and it's just like, okay, here you go. There's no rules, just YOLO.
Yeah,
But then
it's
there
like a
are
game
rules. Like, there's always
that you don't know
rules.
about.
Yeah. I,
It's
dude,
toxic.
I swear to God, I feel like I can't survive in society. Like, I genuinely think I was not built to function in this society because I don't understand how the fuck people do shit. Like, when somebody tells me that something is a rule, I take that shit literally. So you tell me like, okay, you have to put your card here to pay to get onto the subway. I'm gonna do that every fucking time. Meanwhile, other people are hopping things. They're like, there's like gray areas. I don't understand the fucking gray areas to life.
We're neurodivergent. Like
Yeah. Like working
yeah,
jobs is so frustrating because there's always a gray area. Like they always say like, "Oh, this is all the shit you have to do." But there's always people not doing everything, and that's okay. But I never know like what I just never know how to move through the world, and I'm just tired of
how do
it.
we human? How do I
Literally,
human?
how do we
Yeah,
human? I would
it's a
love a
whole thing.
guidebook.
And yeah, and everybody's like, well, everybody's on their own path, so guidebook wouldn't work for you. And it's like, can somebody just give me like, a couple hints here or there?
Yeah,
Like
like I know
because I
common
ask
sense ain't
questions and
common.
I'm inappropriate, and it's like, I just want to know, you
Yeah,
know,
like I'm not trying to be rude or condescending or patronizing. I'm genuinely just trying to clarify and understand what the
I'm
fuck is
trying to
going on.
navigate life on this planet in this timeline. I fucking
Yeah.
have questions, okay?
I don't get
Yeah.
what's wrong with asking for clarification. It saves time. Isn't it better to get the clarification so things get done right the first time versus like me just making an assumption and then fucking it up?
And then you getting pissed off because I made the wrong assumption.
Yeah. Like why I've never understood that.
It's yeah. Yeah, all of it. I just
Yeah. I will say the more I look at myself, especially since like coming to New York and being back in the job market and being in arguably the easiest job of my life and still fucking struggling so hard with my neurodivergency, I'm now like, how the fuck did I make it this far without getting an official autism diagnosis? Because
dead ass. Like
holy shit. Now that I've like woken up and seen it, I really cannot unsee it.
yeah, oh. And it's actually so relieving because then it's like, oh, I'm not wrong. I'm just different. I'm just
I thought I was an alien. I thought I was just bad at being a human. And I mean, I am. But like, I'm not the only one.
we're not alone. Hey, you wanted to touch on something that you were saying yesterday?
Oh yeah. Um, I don't even know like how to fully articulate it. It's been something I've been trying to process for several months now, but I like I'm pretty sure I'm in the last chapter of my life, if that makes sense. Like I don't know exactly when I'm gonna die. I think I have a few more years in me, but I'm pretty sure like once my scripts are done and released, I'm pretty sure that like I'm just gonna be gone at some point after that.
Hmm.
I
That's really fucking interesting.
yeah. I it so I feel like it kind of started with that first trip that like started my spiritual awakening where like my grandma died and everything. Because I feel like that one kind of kickstarted everything, and ever since that trip, there's been like a undercurrent like energy or theme where I felt like I'm like looking for an answer or looking for something. Um, and I had a trip in Hawaii where I died. Like, I swear to God, I fucking died. I was in my backyard. I had taken a shit ton of shrooms, and I literally felt my soul leave my body. And I remember I had the choice, and I chose to get back into my body because there was this whole moment where, and I want to make it clear, I was in a very depressed place in my life. So, like, at that time, I actually did want to die, but this was a weird, one of those moments where, like, they say you jump off the bridge, and then you're like, actually, JK? So I remember like my soul left my body and I was like, oh cool, like I'm dying, and there was like a little bit of acceptance. I'm like, okay, I'm like floating away, this is cool, whatever. And then I like had this thought of like, wait, but I didn't finish my project. I need to finish that. I'm not done yet. And then there was like a deliberate like choice, and I like got myself back into my body, literally like dramatically like had a whole fucking like come back to life moment. Um, but that trip definitely like changed everything because that was like in terms of like my mental health, because then it was like I chose to stay. Like I from that
Yeah.
moment on, like I have been very aware of the fact that I chose to stay here. I chose to stay alive. And then since then I've had a couple other trips, or like surely before I left Hawaii, I had a few trips where it finally like clicked. Like I feel like everything finally fully made sense, and I finally found that answer that I've been searching for. Everything like I don't know, all the clues, fine, like it all, the puzzle came together, and I
Yeah.
finally saw like, oh yeah, like these projects that I'm working on right now, this is my life's work. Like this is what I meant to do. This is my purpose here. But there's also been an awareness of like, okay, well, once my purpose is done, I think that's it. Like I'm pretty, like my soul kind of is just like, this is all we need to do.
Mhm.
I don't know if any
That's
of
really
that makes
fucking
sense.
profound. It makes sense, and it's very fucking profound. It's this completion of a cycle that you can feel, and you're so in tune with your energy and with yourself that right now this is the path. And maybe it does evolve. Maybe there is a new purpose after you complete this one.
Yeah, and like, because I don't know for sure. All I know is like this is the purpose, and I know after that my soul will feel complete. But maybe something else will show up, and I'll end up living to be like 50 or 60. But for all I know, it might be that I die in like 2 years. But weirdly, I'm like so at peace with it because I'm like I found my
But
answer.
you found your answer.
Yeah,
I know that
not to get
you'll
me like 51, 40, or whatever, really locked in an insane asylum. I'm not gonna kill myself, everybody.
yeah, it's not that. It's
Yeah,
just
it's not that. I just my soul is. I feel like my soul is at peace.
yeah,
I'm aware of like the purpose and like the cords keeping me tethered to my body.
and that's fucking deep, man. Like, and the end comes for everybody at a different time. Like my grandpa was 93, and I knew exactly, like, when I went to visit him, as soon as I saw him, I was like, this is the last trip that I will see you alive. And he
Yeah.
died a couple weeks later. And so, but he knew, and I knew that his highest self knew, right? His highest self was reaching out to me in dreams a year, for an entire year before he died, like letting me
Well,
know,
there's a lot
like,
of
I'm gonna
cultures.
transition.
Yeah, there's a lot of cultures where that's a thing. Like you're supposed to cut your cords. Like your soul knows, and it's like you
He
or
was
right. Like
coming to
there's
me
some
in
places where you go and
dreams.
you see like a medicine person, and they tell you like you're gonna die, and like you get your affairs in
Yeah,
order, and you go.
yeah. And he was sitting there like it hit me. I was like, this is the last time I see you alive. And then all of a sudden he started talking about, he's like, I don't have much longer. Um, he was like, and I want you to enjoy life. I want you to be present. I want you to enjoy your family, because a lot of people don't think that 93 years goes by fast, but it really fucking does. Okay?
Yeah.
And it was like, I understand. And, and I knew it, I was like, not waiting for it, but I knew that it would be coming. I was expecting it. Because for a year, Liz, he was coming to me in dreams, and usually I only see my family in dreams after they've passed. Like I've always been the go-to for family members, like to deliver last messages. When my grandma's sister passed away, she came to me. Like an uncle, just I've had that constantly in my life growing up. But Grandpa was coming to me before he died to let me know, like, We're
Get
getting close, and
ready.
I need you to prepare. Okay. And and he was in the hospital for 3 weeks before he passed away, right? Like, so during my visit, he went into the hospital, and I was like, that's it. And, and I was talking to one of my cousins, because all my my uncles, my aunts, my mom, they were all like, oh, we just want this to, like, drag out so we get more time with him. And I was like, I can't actually wait until he's gone. It's selfish of me to want to hang on to him when I know that he's in pain. He's suffering.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm not necessarily ready for my grieving, but I am ready for his pain to be done. And that shift was, it really helped in my grieving process, because it's like, okay, let's end his pain and begin ours. But again, I had that mental preparation. The soul knows.
Yeah.
The soul knows when you're ending a chapter, when you're coming to a close, completing a cycle. So the fact that you have that awareness, scary, yes, but it's inevitable. So
It's really, I feel like it's scary for other people, but it's really not scary for me. Like, I've never felt more calm. Like, I feel like I had a little bit of a fear of death, like more of an anxiety. And I mean, I still will be anxious. I'm not gonna walk around thinking I'm fucking immortal. I'll still be cautious when I'm in dark places by myself, shit like that. But
yeah,
I feel a lot less anxious than I did
good.
before. Because I'm just kind of like, like really now I'm like,
It
yeah, like
is.
life is what it is. All I can do is appreciate this moment because I'm aware. Like, I'm like, my soul's getting ready to leave. So I feel like I'm kind of in my stage of like, just make the most out of life. I'm here in New York. I'm living it up. I'm doing everything I want to do because
Yeah.
I just know that like life is short and my soul might be ready to leave.
I hope you know that whether you're here or there, I'm constantly going to be calling you.
Yeah. I
I'll get
it's
my board
interesting you brought
ready.
up it's funny you brought up your grandpa because I've been thinking about my grandma a lot because she definitely was very much aware, I think, of the power of being able to choose when you go. And it was something I didn't understand. Like when she first got her Reiki attunement, the reason she did it is because she said, I want to be able to Reiki myself to death. And that was something I couldn't quite comprehend. I did, like, I was like, okay, like you're trying to like ease your way out of life. Like, like it's a comfort, I kind of was thinking that approach. My mind couldn't fully comprehend it until like it finally clicked and I'm like, oh no, like it's literally you're releasing yourself. Like at some point I will
Who
be
was,
able to energetically release and like allow my energy to go. And I really think my grandma did that because like you had a similar thing with your grandpa. She had called me while she was in the hospital and I remember like that phone call I felt the gravity in that moment. I was like, this feels way too deep and serious. And I remember being like, I feel like I should be in Hawaii right now. And she's like, no, no, no. I just wanted to call, like, to tell you I'm proud of you and I love you and just all these things. And looking back, I'm like, yeah, she was cutting her cord
yeah.
right there.
And which grandmaster was it? I can't remember the name, but like when war came and he was like, I will not participate in war. So he trained the next grandmaster, and and then he just transitioned.
Yeah.
He Reiki'd his transition, and I was like, that's fucking insane, yo. And I've actually
Yeah.
thought about, my dad, I think I've mentioned that my dad has early onset Alzheimer's, and it's non-fluent aphasia. So he's forgetting his words, forgetting how to speak, he just can't understand. It's a whole thing. And so I've thought about, like, on this spiritual journey, is like, I wonder if I help my dad, but I know it's against his religion to off himself. So I wonder if that would be the same thing, like choosing to transition would be the same as offing himself. And so I wonder if
I don't
in
view it
his religion, if
as,
that would hinder his chances of getting into
yeah. I think that depends on
the new
his
system, I think it's called.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because to me,
Yeah.
I don't view that as,
But then how do I explain that to somebody who fucking can't
yeah.
speak, you know? And it's a whole thing. And so it's like, well, I could take away, I wonder if, like, if he'd let me help him. But when I talk to my uncle, who's also a Jehovah's Witness, it's like, he's like, oh, that's witchcraft. Like, that's a sin. Like, I'm like, okay.
I've
Well,
never
good luck with that.
understood
Yes.
Yeah, I've never understood why we can euthanize dogs and pets and animals, but we can't show that same mercy towards fellow humans.
You can in
Because to me, it's an
Switzerland.
act of mercy. That's true. Switzerland can. Switzerland is good.
Switzerland.
But to me, I'm like, it's an act of mercy at some point. You
It
know,
is.
when the soul is suffering but can't, because I feel like sometimes the soul gets a little stuck, like depending on the trauma to the body or like what's going on with the body. I feel like sometimes the soul can't, like, needs a little bit of help
And
detaching.
that's where we get stuck in limbo. Spirits
Yeah.
get stuck in limbo because of that, because there isn't cognizance. Um, yeah. I really want to thank you for being open and vulnerable about that and
Thank you for holding space
sharing.
for that because I know that was pretty deep and
It's,
heavy. It's been something I've been sitting on for a while, but I don't know, I just really wanted to process it with somebody. So thank you.
thank you. Thank you for, I'm honored and I'm humbled to be the one that you discuss that with. That's hard one to talk about. Not everybody gets it. And I love you and I appreciate
I love
you.
you too. No, I would love you so much, and I really appreciate you holding space for that. Because again, like I said, so many people would be like, "Oh, loony bin," or like lock her up in an asylum, and that's
Ricky
been some.
Sauce Vacation.
But it's been a hard thing since it's been something I've wanted to talk about and process. Because I feel like I just needed to like say it out loud to get it
Yeah,
outside of me, have somebody else hear it and like receive it. But
yeah.
yeah, like I definitely feel like a weight off my. I don't know. I just feel better.
Thank you. I
Thank
love
you.
you.
I love you too. And again, like I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. My scripts aren't finished yet. They're still in progress. So
Yeah, I get it.
I know I got some more time, but we'll see how life goes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for anybody and everybody who's listened. And
Yeah.
this felt like a really good session. I
This was
appreciate you.
we're getting deeper and deeper. I love it.
So fucking deep.
So
I can
deep.
almost feel the uterus. Sorry.
We have hit the cervix. It is right there.
Well,
Beautiful
yeah.
holding it all together.
Okay, I love you. Thanks.
I love you so much. Okay.
Okay.
Mwah. Bye.